What happens when morning television's calmest voice clashes with one of pop culture's most polarizing figures? What starts as a polished sit-down on Good Morning America spirals into a live-on-air storm, with every question turning sharper and every answer cutting deeper until the tension threatens to snap the set in half. This wasn't just an interview. It was a battle dressed up in bright lights and polite smiles, a daytime drama no one saw coming but everyone remembers. Before we dive into this explosive showdown, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and drop a comment below telling me if Meghan Markle was out of line or if Lara Spencer pushed too far. Because trust me, once you hear how this glossy morning interview twisted into a full-on studio meltdown, you're going to have some strong opinions. Now, let's get back to the video. The set glowed like a postcard of perfection. Golden lights cascading across polished desk panels, camera cranes sweeping in a graceful ballet, applause washing over the studio like morning sunshine. At center stage, Lara Spencer sat calm and commanding in a striking yellow suit, her poise unshakable, her smile the kind that made viewers feel safe pouring another cup of coffee. The Chiron flashed bold words across the screen. Meghan Markle. Purpose, privacy, and power. The anticipation was electric, as if the audience knew they were about to witness something more than a routine chat. Then she arrived, Meghan Markle, stepping onto the set like a queen entering a chessboard. A cream blouse and navy pencil skirt clung flawlessly, a diamond catching every light, her stride measured and deliberate, her aura polished to perfection. She eased into the velvet chair opposite Lara, crossing one leg with theatrical grace. "Thanks for having me," she said, her smile polite yet cautious, her eyes darting quickly across the cameras like a strategist scanning a battlefield. Lara's voice, warm as ever, opened the door gently. "So many people were moved by your recent work around mental health advocacy. For viewers at home who might be struggling, what concrete tools have helped you most?" A simple question, framed with empathy, but Meghan's smile cooled, her tone sharpening just enough to jolt the air. "Well, Lara, I think people expect tips and tricks like we're doing a lifestyle segment. Healing is larger than that. It's about voice, autonomy, boundaries." She lingered on the word boundaries like it was a jewel she alone possessed. "When you understand those, you don't need tools. You need alignment." "Alignment," Lara echoed, nodding thoughtfully, her professionalism never faltering. For some, that might mean community or therapy. But Meghan sliced in, her words soft yet loaded. Or it might mean refusing to entertain reductive questions. Another smile, dazzling on the surface but pointed as a blade, floated across her face. The audience shifted in their seats, a ripple of unease cracking through the polished air. Lara didn't blink. "I appreciate the clarity," she said with the smoothness of silk. "Let's talk purpose then. You and Prince Harry launched initiatives for scholarships, veteran support, digital well-being. Which program has surprised you with its impact?" Meghan considered, tilting her head as if bestowing attention upon a subject. "All of them," she replied coolly. "But to be transparent, I don't measure impact in headlines or applause. I measure it in the energy we've shifted. People can feel when systems are being asked to evolve. Results can be hard to quantify in the short term," Lara agreed. "Still, is there a story you carry with you? Someone who reached out? A change you could see?" Meghan's lashes lowered, her voice chilling. "There are many. I tend not to share them on cue. Privacy, remember?" The word dropped heavy as stone. The cameraman's grip on the focus tightened, the room suddenly taut. Lara's smile never wavered, though the hint of frost was undeniable. "Completely fair," she replied softly, pivoting with precision. "Let's go to craft. You've moved from acting to producing and hosting. What creative muscles are you using now that you didn't on set?" Meghan's answer came light, but her meaning sharp. "That assumes acting didn't require leadership." "It did. I've always captained my space. The difference now is that people notice Lara's eyes softened, her instincts guiding her back toward connection. You've spoken about authorship of your narrative. Many women find that empowering, especially those balancing work and motherhood. What does a typical morning look like in your home?" Meghan's laugh rang out, perfect, polished, but edged with cool dismissal. We don't do typical in my home. I'm not sure moms need another celebrity pretending we all make dinosaur pancakes before yoga. I have a staff, I have structure, I have help because I create big things. I'm comfortable saying that somewhere off camera, a producer mouthed, "Wow," while scribbling furiously on a notepad. Lara, unbothered, nodded with calm dignity. Honesty can be a relief, she said. There's freedom in acknowledging support systems. Meghan leaned in, her voice sugared but sharp. Precisely. Which is why it's odd when interviewers ask for relatability like a receipt. The line drifted between them like perfume, pleasant at first, then choking in the throat. Lara reached for a new card, though the move was theater. She didn't need it. Let's touch on your upcoming series, she said smoothly. You've teased conversations with women in high-pressure roles, athletes, scientists, founders. What question are you most excited to ask them? For the first time all morning, Meghan brightened, her eyes sparking with genuine light. I'm always interested in what they refused, the job they didn't take, the man they didn't marry, the smallness they walked away from. Saying no is a superpower. Sometimes saying no is also a privilege, Lara countered gently. Do you worry that message can land differently for viewers who don't have the safety net to refuse opportunities? Meghan's diamond flashed as she folded her hands, her voice dripping with subtle superiority. Sometimes the limitation is mindset. People underestimate how much of their shine is imagined. The monitors showed a flawless scene. Two elegant women, posture perfect, lighting immaculate, but the air between them vibrated like a live wire stretched too tight. The set looked gorgeous, yet in the silence of the studio, the tension was undeniable. The hum of tension in the studio was impossible to ignore. The wide shots made everything gleam like a perfect morning postcard. Manhattan's skyline framed in gold, applause signs flashing obediently. Yet in the close-ups, the cracks showed. Smiles looked thinner, eyes sharper. Every sentence weighted like a chess move on a board where neither woman wanted to lose. Lara leaned forward with the steadiness of a host who had survived storms before. Imagination is powerful, she said calmly, steering the moment back to safety. Meghan's reply came quickly, her words smooth yet faintly barbed. Absolutely. But I think people watching might also be looking for empathy around constraints that aren't imagined. Rent, childcare, healthcare. Lara nodded, her voice warm but resolute. Completely true. Those realities can't be brushed aside. Meghan's smile thinned, almost sweetly condescending. I'm aware of the world, she said softly. Are you? A hush fell across the audience, a ripple of gasps like a sudden draft through the studio. Even the stage crew froze, waiting to see how Lara would respond. The seasoned host didn't flinch. Her reply landed velvet smooth but iron strong. Let's reframe. When your documentary came out, many felt inspired, others confronted. If you could rewrite one single moment, not to appease critics but to sharpen your intention, what would it be? Meghan tilted her head with queenly poise, her tone glacial. I don't rewrite, I iterate. And I prefer not to uplift the critiques of people who haven't built anything. The words weren't shouted, but they cut like glass, higher ground claimed with a single step. Building requires feedback, Lara countered gently, her velvet tone hiding steel beneath. I ask because your platform is enormous. With that comes impact and responsibility. Meghan's eyes glittered, her diamond ring catching light as though mocking the moment. I'm familiar with responsibility. That's why I'm careful where I sit. A few nervous chuckles trickled through the crowd, but the tension only thickened. Lara recovered instantly, smiling softly. I'm glad you're here. Viewers want to hear about the work, so let me ask something we promised in our tease. What does accountability look like for the institutions you've criticized and for you? Outcomes, Meghan replied without hesitation. Programs funded, lives improved, discourse elevated, and when those who profit from harm are uncomfortable, that's also a metric. And for you personally, Lara pressed, voice warm but firm. Meghan's gaze locked onto hers, steady and unblinking. I have never been more aligned. Silence gripped the room like a hand on glass. In the control booth, the stage manager hovered near the commercial cue, ready to pull the plug if the moment snapped further. Lara's smile shimmered like armor. "We'll take a quick break," she said, turning seamlessly to camera. "When we come back, Meghan opens up about creative risk, her new project, and what she wants her legacy to be. Stay with us." Applause rose on command, but it felt strained. The cheer of an audience covering unease. The music stitched a bright seam across the studio, but the frost lingered at the edges. Everyone sensed it. The battle lines were drawn, and the second act was about to cut deeper. When the cameras rolled again, Lara leaned in, her tone warm as ever. "Welcome back. We're here with Meghan Markle, discussing her projects and perspective on building purpose in today's world." Meghan sat back like royalty presiding over a trial, her smile faint but unyielding. Lara offered what should have been a gift of a question. "You've been very open about inspiring women to step into leadership roles. What advice would you give to young women watching today who feel overlooked?" The answer landed sharp. "Well, first I'd tell them not to wait for permission from morning shows or anyone else to matter. If you know your worth, you don't need validation from an institution or an interviewer." The crowd clapped politely, but the air shifted again, half admiration, half unease. Lara didn't break. "Fair enough," she said evenly. "But many young women watching don't have access to the same platforms or resources. How do they start practically?" Meghan tilted her head, her voice dripping with subtle superiority. "Practically, Lara, I think sometimes practicality is just the excuse people use to play small. My message is, stop asking how to start, just begin. The details follow those with courage." It was a sermon delivered like scripture, polished yet heavy with condescension. The audience murmured uneasily. Lara's smile remained poised, but her eyes flickered with quiet steel. "Courage is essential," she replied firmly. "But even the most courageous often need systems of support, mentorship, funding, opportunity." Meghan's smile hardened. "Opportunities find those prepared to take them. I prepared. I claimed my space. Not everyone is willing to do that." A low murmur swept across the crowd. Not admiration this time, but unease. Lara folded her hands neatly, refusing to be rattled. "Let's turn to your creative work," she said smoothly. "Your new project has been described as innovative and groundbreaking. What risks did you take creatively that you're most proud of?" Meghan exhaled lightly, almost mocking. "Risks? I don't see them as risks. When you operate at my level, innovation is the standard, not the gamble. People call it risk because they can't imagine moving without a safety net. For me, it's just Tuesday." The silence that followed was heavy. The applause sign flashed and the audience clapped mechanically, but the energy was thin, strained. Lara's eyes softened, her smile unwavering, though the tension in her jaw betrayed strain. "I admire that confidence," she said gently. "Still, risk resonates with people because it reflects vulnerability. Do you think showing more vulnerability could make your message even stronger?" Meghan arched a brow. "I think I've been vulnerable enough for a lifetime. The world doesn't need another woman crying on cue to prove she's human. We've evolved past that." Gasps echoed through the crowd, sharp, stunned, disbelieving. Lara's smile held, but her eyes no longer gleamed with warmth. "Well," she said softly, "many viewers might feel vulnerability is what connects us most deeply." Meghan leaned forward, her voice like velvet-wrapped steel. "Connection isn't built on weakness, Lara. It's built on power. If people want relatability, they can look to their neighbor. I didn't come here to be relatable." The statement crashed like glass shattering in silence. The audience froze, whispers breaking into audible shock. Lara tilted her head ever so slightly, calm but unyielding. "Many would argue that relatability and power aren't opposites, that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is show people they're not alone." Meghan's smile sharpened like a blade. "And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is remind them they don't need you." The studio air vibrated with disbelief. Murmurs rolled like a rising tide. The battle was no longer subtle, it was out in the open. The atmosphere in the studio was no longer tense, it was combustible. Every word Meghan delivered landed like a spark, every calm response from Lara like a fuse, holding back an explosion. Lara steadied herself, her tone soft but edged with iron. Ambition takes many forms. For some women, raising families is ambition. It's just expressed differently. Meghan's hand flicked dismissively, her smile cool. Yes, I suppose that's the comforting narrative, but it's not one I subscribe to. Some of us are destined for more. The words hung in the air like smoke, suffocating. The crowd gasped audibly, disapproval swelling like thunder. For the first time all morning, Lara's voice cut sharper, her patience slipping. Destiny has many definitions, Meghan, but dismissing ordinary lives as less is not strength, it's arrogance. Meghan crossed her legs, diamond flashing defiantly. And maybe that's why I'm here, and they're out there. The world rewards power. The audience erupted, some booing, some gasping, others clapping nervously. Lara leaned forward, her calm finally breaking into fire. Power without respect isn't leadership, and this morning you've shown plenty of power, but not an ounce of respect. The studio exploded in applause, a standing ovation for the host who had held her ground. Meghan's smile faltered, her composure cracking. She stood abruptly, her mic trembling in her hand. I don't have to sit here and be attacked, she snapped. Lara's voice, sharp yet composed, ended it. Then you don't have to. This interview is over. The cameras captured every step of Meghan's stormy exit, the audience's gasps and cheers, and Lara's unflinching gaze into the lens. And just like that, a morning show turned into a cultural earthquake, leaving the world to decide whether Meghan Markle was unfairly cornered or finally exposed. What did you think of this explosive showdown between Lara Spencer and Meghan Markle? Was Lara right to finally call her out, or did things go too far on live TV? Comment your thoughts below. I want to hear every opinion on this fiery clash. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next unbelievable meltdown caught on camera.